Marty, game day is a pretty big day for you, isn't it? In fact, it may be game week.
Yeah, it's definitely a game week for us. You know, this process actually really gets started last summer, early in the year, where we're doing maintenance work on getting the facility ready. Any updates that we make or renovations, that all occurs during that time period. But during the game week, it really gets busy.
Kind of take us through it. What's a typical?
Well, what happens, you know, like I'll start from last week. You know, as soon as that game gets over with, you know, it takes us a number of days to clean the facility and get it ready. You know, the catering people that serve the premium areas, you know, it takes them all week to get their food in, start preparing for it. You know, we're in touch with visiting teams, with the game officials, network TV, the event staff. So there's a tremendous amount of coordination that gets involved in.
How many bodies are involved in all that?
I think this would probably surprise some people, but we're probably talking in excess of 1,800.
Wow.
You know, by the time you have event staff, concession workers, medical people, catering, it's in security, we're well in excess of 1,800.
But all those people aren't involved all week, I take it?
No, that's primarily, you know, on game day when all those people get involved. You know,
but you have to train them, right?
Yes. Yes. You know, most of the training, you know, occurs during the summer, and that, particularly with event staff. You know, we meet all summer long. We've been preparing for games with different groups. Like we meet with the ticketing people, we meet with event staff, we meet with security. We review all our emergency procedures throughout the summer, where we bring in people to review those procedures. And of course, with that, we spend a lot of time on weather, because when you look at stuff like that, that's probably the most logical thing to happen. You know, for example, like today, if we would have played today, we'd have probably been in a weather delay because of lightning that occurred earlier today.
Yeah. So how do you deal with that? I mean, if you've got a storm coming, or fortunately, I guess football season isn't tornado season, but if you have a dangerous storm, a lot of lightning, what do you do? What
we have is if we're anticipating severe weather, you know, we'll be in touch with the National Weather Service down in Norman, where we'll have a conference call with them where we kind of outline what type of weather we may get, when we will get it, and then we're tracking that all week as the week goes along to see how it updates in that. You know, we'll be in touch with the visiting teams, we'll be in touch with the conference office, game officials, our team, and just to let them know.
So you don't really start the game then. You'd have a weather delay, rather than try to get all these people out of the stadium.
Well, what'll happen is that if we have a storm during the game, you know, we're monitoring that from this booth right here. We have people up here that are watching the weather and in touch with the National Weather Service, and a number of times, you know, if we're anticipating severe weather, we'll have somebody from the National Weather Service with us, helping us too. But we're tracking the weather as it comes towards Stillwater. What we'll end up doing is that we'll keep, of course, the game officials informed, the teams informed of what's going on. And if the storm escalates, then we'll start putting messages up on the video board and PA announcement, you know, warning people that we have severe weather coming towards Stillwater, and if they choose to leave, they can. But we just try to keep people informed of what's going on.
Now, the services you mentioned a number of things, and but let's kind of go through them. That you have to, and I guess you have somebody in charge of each one of these areas?
Yeah, what we do is, you know, this is a team effort, a big team effort. We've got a lot of good people that take a lot of pride in what they do here. You know, our goal in putting these games on, whether it's in the stadium here or in basketball, you know, we want people to come and feel like they have a safe and enjoyable experience here. But it takes a lot of preparation in order, you know, to do that. You know, we meet every Wednesday before a home football game, in which we probably have about 30 people there.
And what all areas are they covering?
Ticketing, media relations, police, safety, fire,
food,
just event staff. It's a big group in which during that process, we're reviewing what is taking place that week during the week and during the game to let everybody know what is going on. And if we've had some issues from the previous game, we review those at that time to try to resolve those issues too.
What do you do? You got somebody in the stands that's out of control, causing big problems.
Well, initially we try to get our event staff to deal with it if possible. And if they can't do it, then we involve campus police. And then, once campus police gets involved in it, their hands are pretty well tied, and the individual either settle down or he'll probably be leaving the stadium.
Yeah. What about food? Like, how many hot dogs do you sell and popcorn and all that stuff?
That's a really difficult question to answer. I know that, when you look at our facilities here, we've got a big kitchen a couple stories below us that serves all the food for this area. On the premium levels, we have 20 different food kiosks that are serving a variety of types of food. Down in the what I'm going to call a general seating bowl, we have almost 40 concession stands, and it takes nearly 900 people to operate all that stuff. I know that I visited with some of our caterers yesterday, and they figure out they figure about a pound per person in our premium areas for like protein, like meat and stuff like that. And if you figure we got 6,000 people up here, that's 6,000 pounds worth of meat that we prepare for.
Marty, we've talked about the storms and unruly fans. I'm sure we have very few of those. But, you get this many people together in this day and age, and the danger of terrorists, anything like that. What do we do about that? Or do we plan for that? Or?
We do. We're actually sitting in our emergency service command post that watches over everything on game day. And in this room, we have individuals from OSU and Stillwater Fire, OSU and Stillwater Emergency Management. We have other local, state, and federal law agencies in here that we're constantly monitoring terrorist threats and things like that. But in this room right here is where all that stuff takes place. Like I said, during the summer, we make plans on how to deal with that stuff. And in fact, next week we're having the Oklahoma Highway Patrol Bomb Squad up here, and we're going to go through some tabletop exercises with them if we ever had something like that occur here in the stadium. So we do things like that throughout the year to try for us to prepare in those events. But again, when dealing with this stuff, you deal with the things that are most likely to happen. And in our case, that is weather. That probably is the most logical thing for us to happen.
We see the medics down on the field when a player gets injured. What happens when somebody has a problem in the stands, a heart attack or something?
We have 4 first aid rooms in this facility, 2 on the north and 2 on the south side. We actually are working with some of our sister schools, OSU Tulsa and OSU OKC, with their medical programs there. We get our medical doctors from over in Tulsa with OSU, and then this year we started working with OSU OKC with students that are trying to work to become paramedics, and so we match them up with medical staff that we have in the stadium now to really try to enhance our medical service here. But what ends up happening in that is that we're watching up here in this command post, and a lot of times you can tell when something happens because all of a sudden a lot of people start standing up and gathering around, and something has happened, and we ask our event staff to be on the watch for stuff like that. And then when something does happen, we get a call saying, you know, that somebody has done something, has an apparent heart attack or has slipped or has fallen or something, and we send medical people to them to check to see what may or may not be wrong with them, and then depending upon the severity of it, we'll either take them back to first aid rooms to be treated, or if it's serious enough, we'll put them in an ambulance and take them to a hospital.
The games often these days finish about 10 o'clock or so. When does your day finish?
Well, it's a long day. You know, this morning, you know, these next 2 days, Friday and Saturday, I'll probably be here 36 hours between those 2 days. And in some cases, it's longer than that. You know, when we have like ESPN Game Day here, it's a really long day then, because, you know, they get here at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and we're here there, and then the game typically starts late. And so, you know, it's in a game like that, it may be midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning before I ever get home.
Is that right? And then do you come back Sunday? Is there
Yes.
work to be done on Sunday? What are you doing on Sunday?
You know, trying to tie up all the loose ends from the game before and review stuff that went right, went wrong, and then, you know, we're jumping right in to start preparing for the next week's game.
Tell us something that went really wrong.
Nothing. No. You know,
Surely you've had some snafus out there.
You know, typically our first games are always the hardest games for us to do. You know, we hire a lot of temporary employees, and it's the first time they've ever done it. And you know, it's hard to get all that stuff coordinated with them, where they're uncertain of some things. But once we get by the first game, it gets a little bit easier, but there's always something, you know, that happens during a game that challenges you a little bit. But right. Like I said, you know, we've got a lot of good people here that have a lot of years of experience of doing this that makes it a lot easier for us. And of course, you know, and you know, we have some excellent leadership in a lot of different areas. You know, like all the things that you do, and like Mike Holder, and it makes it you know, a lot easier for us.
You know, at game day, you see a lot of people in these yellow slickers that say Express Personnel on it. Who are they?
They're our event staff people who help us with ticket taking, ushering out in the stands, and then doing our parking. And we probably, on game day, employ around a little over 500 of them a game.
Of course, Express Personnel is a very prominent company in Oklahoma, run by Bob Funk, who's also very involved with OSU. Are they Bob Funk's employees?
Yes, they are. I mean, we work through the agency here in Stillwater. We've been working with Express now for a number of years, and they do a really good job for us. Chris Tucker, who we work with now, does a really good job of helping us in coordinating all this stuff. You know, he's very proactive in training and making a positive experience for everybody. So they do a really good job for us.
Now, Marty, do you tape the games to watch later?
No, I don't. You know,
how much of the game do you see?
I get to watch it all, but I don't remember very much of it because we're always looking at crowds.
You're looking for different things than where the football's going.
I remember a few plays, but most of the time, like last week's game, I don't remember. I remember very little about the game because you're always looking around, looking at stuff. And you know, the bad part about that now is when I go to any event, I'm always looking around. It's hard for me to enjoy a game.
Do you have any role with the tailgating?
I wished I did.
Why do you say that?
I mean, they look like they're having a lot of fun. You know, I've told some people I've been going to college football games for over 40 years and never tailgated.
Because you've always been in this kind of job.
I've always been doing this, or even when we're traveling on the road, you know, you get to the stadium, play the game, and you go home.
Yeah.
So,
are you in charge of arranging for the travel to an away site and the lodging and all that stuff?
The part I do is I work with Mac Butler. Mac does all the hotel stuff and buses and things like that. I deal with securing aircraft for football and basketball, the big charters. So I really enjoy doing that because you get out and you get a chance to be around student athletes, and it's fun to do that.
Well, your team does a great job. Everybody enjoys the game day experience, and you make it look easy, but well, no, it's not.
It's not. We have fun.
Thanks, Marty.
Take care.
You bet.